In 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Hello, everybody. My name is Gerardo Moreno Lopez. I'm your host. Welcome to the Spiritual Philosopher. I'm going to be making this first small intro about myself, about what the podcast entails, and I'm just going to go with the flow and explain what you are going to be expecting, what I'm going to be presenting, and what is this podcast about, and give you a little insight. Not too long, because I don't want to bore you with information that you can just look up on the internet, right? But I do want to give you, first and foremost, thank you. If you are listening to this podcast, if you're taking the time out of your day, if you are a person who just out of nowhere want to support me or support this dream or just give yourself this opportunity to listen and dissect and philosophize with me. I must say, I am not a professional. I am currently working on my master's at San Francisco State. I am in no way, shape, or form a doctor. I am no way, shape, or form a expert of any sort of kind. I am similar to what others people say. I don't know anything. And so, but what I will do is I will explain how I see things through the lens of my perception, of my eyes. And sometimes that will be triggersome. Sometimes that will be hard to swallow, hard to dissect, hard to even internalize. So if any point in time you feel triggered, because a lot of people who will come on this podcast will have a lot of beautiful and also difficult, critical conversations, for lack of a better term. And so please breathe. You even have to take my own advice. Breathe, relax, enjoy the show. I want to say thank you foremost. And I'm just grateful to life, grateful to everybody who's ever supported me, supported this dream. I'm grateful to my students who, if you've ever worked with me and if I've ever come across your path, thank you, because in one way, shape, or form you helped me take another step forward. And so I am grateful for that, whether if it's just a simple 2-minute conversation or a whole life story that we shared together. Everyone has a purpose, and I don't believe that I do believe that everyone that comes through your path is for a reason, and some of them are for a season and some of them for life, and we shall see. But first and foremost, let's move on. I wanted to jump forward and give you the little operation, explain to you how this is going to work, what does the podcast entail, and then I will final remarks and all that good stuff. But don't want to make this too long, so let's go right into it. So as you know, this is the Spiritual Philosopher. I am currently working on my master's. I already said this. I don't need to say it again. My thesis is on ethics of liberation. And so I see this more as a life. This podcast is embedded into my master's in some way, shape, or form. It is helping me get one step closer, because I feel that in order to free not just ourselves from whatever is holding us back, but also a society, a group, a tribe, a country, a nation, a world, a collective human being, group, society, collective, whatever word you want to use, we have to learn how to communicate with each other. We got to communicate, whether we like it or not. We have to find a way to sit at a table, have those hard, difficult conversations, critical conversations that may digress a little bit, but do help us move forward. And so with that, the beginning of the podcast, I have it broken into 3 sections. So the podcast will be 3 different sections. The first element or the first section would be the hero's journey. Now, if you've watched my YouTube videos, I also have that entailed in there, the hero's journey. I have my own hero's journey, but the podcast, specifically the Spiritual Philosopher, under the hero's journey, here is where I will interview people who have gone through a struggle, a major struggle, a struggle that all of us can relate to or all of us can learn from. And so this might be difficult for some people. And like always, please breathe, relax, pause it, come back to it another day. If it's too difficult, too alarming, too triggering, there will be people who will share crazy experiences, beautiful experiences, and traumatic experience as well. I don't want to filter this podcast. I will be clear about this, that I do not want to filter this podcast. I will not be filtering this podcast. I will not be holding anyone back from sharing their story and singing their song. Whatever it is that they're going through or have gone through, I want them to leave it here for all of us to learn from and share, because I feel like we are so ingrained in us to swallow our own story and keep moving forward because the world doesn't owe us anything, which I don't hold specifically to that. Some parts of it I may feel do resonate, but other parts, as in that, no, you shouldn't hold back. You should share your story. You should let people know, especially youth, what's going on, what have you gone through, and all of this chaos or love or whatnot, heartbreak or growth that you've gone through, because someone's gonna listen. I don't care if it's 500,000 people or just one kid, one friend, one random person who listens to a podcast episode and says, thank you. Because of that one episode, I decided to keep going. I decided that I am not alone. I realized I wasn't alone. And that story that you had on that podcast, whoever X, Y, and Z person was, they did it for me, and I thank you. That's my intention with that. So now moving on to the next element. I know I gotta breathe too, you guys, because I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm running this show on my own right now. I'm literally sitting up here and trying to just channel this energy, this love, this gratitude, and not let myself get overwhelmed. So be with me right now. So the next section is going to be the systemic analysis part. The systemic analysis. That's pretty much, what is the systemic analysis? It is an analysis of whatever system that we live in, whether it's political, whether it's tribal, whether it's social, emotional, justice issues, anything that we see that is possibly, or not just possibly, is going wrong, and we should talk about it, see how we can get to the conversation of making change and hearing each other out, and not just that, coming to a conclusion of what can we do about it. So that one might get me a little bit in trouble. I'm not gonna lie to you right now, because I have a lot of people on here who want to share about the systemic analysis, and I know they're not going to hold back for you guys, and they're going to give you all that they got, and some people are not going to like that, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if people don't like this podcast, because there's people on here that are troublesome. Now I will be mindful of those people who are at this table and they have either been vicious towards other people, then they will not sit at this podcast. I will be completely clear about that. But yet, however, if there are people who have a different mentality, but just need to sit at a table and haven't done anything vicious towards anyone and just wants to talk about why they see life differently than what we, the collective, or anyone else does, I think they should be given a charitable chance to explain, okay, how do you feel that way? What got you to that what got you to that conclusion? What made you believe that narrative? And maybe there's something to be learned, or maybe it won't get nowhere, but hey, it's simple fact that we're not even having those conversations anymore is what bugs me. I want to have those conversations. So that's the systemic analysis for you. Now, the last portion, and my favorite, I will say this: yo soy Latino, soy Latinx. I'm okay with that term. I'm not gonna sit here and try to explain why I use Latinx, nor do I have to. It's a term that I accept and I hold, and I'm not forcing it upon you. And if you don't like me using it, I'm sorry, but sorry that you feel that way. Get over it. I'm just gonna be completely honest, because I'm using it for myself. I'm not forcing it upon you. So before you come for me, social media, just putting it out there, okay? So like I just said, I am Latino. My father is Spaniard. My mother is Guatemalan. She's from an indigenous part of Guatemala that we do not know yet. My father, he is indigenous himself as well. He is from the Canary Islands of Spain, not even the main land of Spain. He's from the Canary Islands, which was owned and conquered by Spain. So in some way, shape, or form, I'm indigenous on both sides. Oh, goody. Which I love. It's just, I'm having a lot of identity, not issues, but like trying to come to terms with this. Okay, so that's just me talking about myself right there. But so this next part, the last part is la comunidad. And what we're going to do in la comunidad is, vamos a hablar en español. Vamos a no solo hablar en español. Perdóname si mi español no es perfecto. Mi español es combinado entre lo que va siendo un dialecto centroamericano con español, con venezolano y todo eso. No porque yo crea que yo soy así, ¿no? Es que yo fui criado con un padre que él es de España, como dije, de las Islas Canarias, y fue criado en Venezuela. Y mi madre es de Guatemala, pero yo fui criado por una familia salvadoreña. So, mi español es muy raro porque en unos instantes te puedo hablar bien español y otros instantes te puedo hablar bien latinoamericano y todo eso. Pero en esta parte vamos a hablar de la comunidad. Vamos a hablar de las cosas que podemos hacer como latinoamericanos, como indígena, como centroamericanos, como mexicanos, como cualquier país de tú seas. ¿Cómo podemos empezar a hablar, a cambiar, no solo cómo nos tratamos uno al otro, pero a la misma vez cómo podemos hacer una comunidad, una tribu otra vez, y ayudar a los futuros géneros estar unidos? Porque es la separación. La separación es porque estamos perdiendo ahorita. Estamos perdiendo no quiero decir batalla ni nada, pero no estamos mejorando como comunidad, en mi opinión, porque seguimos muchas costumbres que se nos ha dicho que tenemos que seguir, que es basado a la colonización que hemos pasado. Y yo estoy en un firme stance. J-Lo, Selena moment right there. Cuando digo, yo creo que deberíamos regresar a nuestras raíces. Deberíamos sentarnos con nuestros ancestros, buscar quiénes son nuestros ancestros y saber de dónde venimos, cómo fue la cultura y cómo podemos aprender de eso y aplicarlo ahorita para mejorar y para crecer y para ayudarnos uno al otro. A mí lo que más me duele, honestamente te lo digo ahorita, es mirando a mis estudiantes que unos eran de un parte de Latinoamérica, otros de otra parte, no quiero decir dónde porque no importa, y los dos queriéndose pelear porque eran dos diferentes culturas. Y yo como maestro que era, me puse muy arrecho y les dije, mira, y como solo estábamos nosotros, perdóname, pero se les dije, mira, se las voy a cantar así, somos una familia muy grande y nos vamos a pelear, eso sí, siempre va a haber problemas o cosas que pasen, pero cómo nos comunicamos, cómo nos respetamos y cómo llegamos a la conclusión para apoyarnos uno al otro, es como movemos para adelante. Si van a querer seguir sufriendo como nuestras generaciones antiguas, sigan el mismo paso, pero si quieren evolucionar, crecer y aprender de uno al otro, es hora que ya empecemos de hablar. So, con mucho amor, a lot of love, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everyone who's listening. If you made it this far, I love you guys. Anyone who wants to come on, share your journey with us. Anyone who wants to analyze the systemic analysis o cualquier persona que quiera hablar de la comunidad, you are welcome. You are safe here, and I'm just grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you to Jay, my mentor. Thank you to everyone who else has mentored me. Thank you to a lot of people who have made this dream come alive. And I give you the Spiritual Philosopher. Thank you.